Please help me in welcoming Shawn Kanungo.
The most dangerous skill in the world is just coming up with an idea. I've been trying to block this website for years. Oh my good, I don't know why I'm so zesty there. I mean, it's not great. All right, unfortunately, I wasn't here yesterday because I was in Minneapolis and I was doing a keynote for General Mills. What's interesting is that they gave me this as a token of souvenir, okay? You see that? It's my face on a Wheaties box. Now, growing up as a South Asian in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, the only thing I dreamed of was being a hockey player. But then I realized that I was gonna be 5'7". I saw this and I was like, oh my God, I finally made it. I finally made it. And then I texted my mother. And I said, Mom, they made a Wheaties box with my face on it. And then she responded, Shawn, I can't see Netflix. They said you have to pay $2,698. I accept. I'm like, Mom, this is like a great achievement. And she had no idea, okay? She's like, do they put doctors on the Wheaties box? I'm like, no. So anyways, this happened yesterday. So I thought what I would have done, maybe I could create an e-commerce site that could sell Shawn Kanungo Wheaties. So what I did was I went to one of my favorite agentic tools today, a tool called Malleable, where you can just have an idea and create an app around it and see if I could create an e-commerce website right out of this product. So what I did was I went to Malleable and I said, hey, build an e-commerce site where people can buy Shawn Kanungo Wheaties, make it awesome. And so what's remarkable about some of these agentic tools is that not only does it come up with like the design, not only does it come up with the code, but it's actually coming up with a 80% of a functional e-commerce website. And for somebody that has been in digital for his entire life, this is actually remarkable. I mean, it even came up with an AI wizard that would create, my preferred bowl. Ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And as it turns out, the most dangerous idea and the most dangerous skill in the world is just coming up with an idea. All you got to do is just come up with an idea. Let me show you another tool. I want to help the province of British Columbia out a little bit. So what I did is I went to this procurement site to see some of the active bids that were out there. And I saw that there was a bid from the Coast Mountain College. It looked like they had an RFP out for a website review. So instead of actually responding to this RFP with a proposal, I thought I would just go off and do the work. So what I did was I went to this procurement site and I went to one of the things I saw website review, Coast Mountain College. This is due on May 15th. We still have time. So what I did was I went to a whole bunch of different AI agents to see if I could complete this work. I went to Manus, which is a Chinese startup, AI agent that can get stuff done. And then it started working. I went to another AI agent called Proxy. This is a startup out of London that actually crawls the web and it actually deploys its own agents. Then I went to OpenAI, deep research, to see what it could do as well. So at this point, I had a bunch of agents working for me to try to get this work done. Not just respond to the RFP, but get stuff done. And what's remarkable is that not only does it each of them create a 5,000-word report, but what's really fascinating is one of the agents, for example, with Proxy, what it does is it hires other agents to get this work done. There's an agent orchestrator that hires another AI technical analysis, another UX evaluation specialist. It's literally creating new agents to go off and research and complete that work. And so, by the way, at the end, I created this like 10,000-word report, and I just emailed the procurement person. I said, hey, I noticed that you have this RFP out. I know it's due on May 15th, but here it is. Please take the rest of the year off. Okay? And the reason why I said that is that how many months does it take to create an RFP? How many months does it take to respond to an RFP? How many months will it take to somebody to actually do this work? Now, I'm not saying that this replaces anybody, but I think it's going to be governmental malpractice to not leverage AI to begin with before you go to RFP. And imagine you have an orchestra of digital workers at your fingertips. I mean, we are on the brink of a revolution here. You know, I also created another AI agent for my friends at CPA BC, who are one of the platinum sponsors here, and I trained it on its entire website. I use actually my likeness and my face for CPA BC, and I'm gonna ask it a whole bunch of questions, a live interactive demo of me using this AI agent. Hey, AI agent, listen, I'm a new CPA. I wanna know how much money can I get being a CPA, and how long does it take?
Hey, absolutely. I'm an agent for CPABC and can help with that. Yeah, this is a subject we are passionate about. In British Columbia, the answer continues to vary by location, industry sector, years of experience, and position. However, the median compensation is $131,000. With the undergraduate degree in hand, plan on about 30 months of combined study, work experience, and the final exam to earn your CPA in BC. Would you like me to dive deeper on becoming a CPA, or do you want to connect with someone from the CPABC team?
No, actually, that's great. Can you actually say that in Japanese? That would be amazing.
Oh, sure, I can repeat in Japanese. ブリテイス州コロンビア州では、報酬は場所、業界セクター、経験年数、趣味によって引き続き野となります。しかし、中央紙は$131,000です。学部の学位を取得した後、BC で公認階級時、CPA の資格を得るためには、勉強、事務経験、最終実験を含めて、約30ヶ月の期間を計画してください。
I showed my CPA AI agent to my wife. She's like, you're a lot sexier in Japanese. So, you know, I think one of the deepest implications around this AI revolution is that anything that is digital today will be replicated and reinvented by AI. Anything that is digital. And I don't think we've really thought through the implications of that. Let me give you another example. I thought what I would do is go to my wife's favorite website to see if I could replicate one of their marketing campaigns. Now, truth be told, I've been trying to block this website in my house for years. And I thought since we're here in Vancouver, I would just bring it up to you. This website is called Aritzia. Okay? I'm trying to block that. So what I did is I went to its site to see if I could replicate one of its campaigns. So what I did was I went to Aritzia, and I went to its Instagram. You could go to it too. Its latest Instagram, organic content. I took a screenshot of this. I went to Midjourney, which Midjourney is an AI tool where it can recreate different graphics. I took a screenshot of this, and what happened was the AI came up with its own description of what it was looking at. And then what I ended up doing is just pressing one button. It came up with 16 different versions of what that picture might look like. And then I ended up just choosing the one that I really like the best, which was this one. So that was the AI were on the left, and the real one is on the right. And just for fun, I made it into a video. Now, what I also did is I sent it to my wife, and I said, hey, I have a discount code. I can get this for you. And she's like, ooh la la, buy me stuff. I'm like, do you like this outfit? She's like, but how much is the discount? They have PST there, so if the discount only covers PST, then it doesn't make a difference. By the way, CPA BC, she's an accountant. Can you tell? I don't think we understand the implications of this, right? You know, if Aritzia wanted to create this campaign, what they would traditionally do is they would come up with a plan. They would bring people together. They'd have to do production. They'd have to do post-production. You know, all this work. And today, someone can generate 100 different versions of what this looks like and as inspiration. And so we're rewiring how we look at work. As a personal example as well, I asked my team, I said, listen, I need a stylist now, okay? I need a stylist. Can you help me out? Can AI help me out? And this is what they came up with. I don't know what they came up with. Oh my goodness. Oh my good. I don't know why I'm so zesty there. I mean, it's not great. It's not great. But wait till the end of the year and it might be perfect. And you know, what's happening with AI, we're actually reimagining how we look at work. You know, somebody would stand on a stage like this for the last number of decades and say this one line, that we should begin with the end in mind. The idea that we should start with a vision of where we want to go and then work towards that particular vision. Well, today, you can actually build with the end in mind. You can come up with 100 AI-generated analyses, 100 AI-generated campaigns, 100 AI-generated reports, 100 AI-generated whatever it might be. Then you go through your creative process, and then you get your final solution or output. Like, I would never in my life trust AI as the final solution, right? AI is never the solution, but it can be the starting point. You know, one of the other ways of creating a culture of innovation, people ask me this all the time, which is, how do I feel like I'm innovative, but how do I get other people in my organization to get on board, to get on the journey? And my response is always this, and you're gonna hate this, but I'm gonna explain it a little bit. My belief is that we need to get more people drunk. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about alcohol. I saw some people clapping. I know what you're thinking, all right? I'm saying get more people drunk on the future, get more people aligned, get more people inspired, get more people passionate, and the only way you do this is by getting people together. When you're in the third or fourth hour with somebody, you can't fake it. You understand their viewpoint, their perspective, their mission, and that's how you can better align your mission. It's when you spend an extraordinary amount of time together. The reality is that people don't care about your idea until they know you care deeply about their problem. And true alignment is costly because it takes time. And if you truly want to move something forward within your organization, spend more time with someone. This is actually the dirty secret when it comes to innovation. It actually has nothing to do with technology and has everything to do with people aligning missions. And the reason why this is really important is because of this. You know, literally right before coming here, I was speaking with an HR leader on the phone, and she said, we're trying to get our people to upskill around AI, but they hated that word. They hated the word upskilling because they felt that, wait, you don't think that I'm trying my best at my job? You don't think I have the skills to do what I do? They hated the idea that they needed to upskill. Well, my belief is that AI is actually not about upskilling. It's actually about unlearning. It's about trying to disrupt yourself. And the question I'm here to ask you is, are you willing to disrupt yourself? You know, throughout my career, I've helped organizations go from 0 to 100. How do you scale? How do you grow? How do you get to the next mountaintop? It's incredibly sexy to do. But what is most difficult and most rewarding is how do you go from 100 to 0? How do you disrupt yourself? Now, one of the practices that I give to my clients is, this is how you go off and disrupt yourself. You start from 0. Think about your processes, recruiting, onboarding, talent management. If you were to restart that process today from the ground up, knowing exactly what you know with all the tools and technologies, how would you build it up? What would you eliminate? What would you automate? What requires more humanity? What requires you to slow down? How would you start what you do today at 0? This is a great way of trying to disrupt yourself. Now, I encourage this practice, but sometimes the world disrupts you. Let me give you a quick story. Today is April 30th, and today is tax day. I didn't want to remind you, but it's April 30th today, and this day gives me a little bit of PTSD. Let me explain. Almost 17 years ago, my father suddenly passed away. He was a great man, kind man, and he ran a small tax accounting firm with 200 clients. Now, he died on April 19th, and tax day was April 30th. And so I was very young in my professional career. I was not able to do this particular work, but people kept on calling. What about my files and taxes? I mean, they were sympathetic, but they were like, hey, April 30th is coming. And so I know all his clients were Googling, what happens when your accountant dies? And I was doing the same thing. What happens? I had no idea how to navigate the situation. The only thing I knew what to do was to go in his office and try to figure it out. Now, even though I didn't know what to do, the only thing that gave me comfort is every time I would walk into the office, and I did that for 6 months straight, is I would wear a tie. I'm not sure why, but that tie gave me confidence. It was my armor. It was my defense mechanism. And when April 30th was done, I was able to file all the taxes and run the business successfully, and then I ended up selling it. And by the way, up until this day, I still have PTSD going in the mailbox because I think CRA is going to come for me for like illegally submitting all these tax returns. They never did. I think there's like a 7-year gap or something like that. Anyways, CPABC, don't say anything, okay? Come on. But what I learned through this traumatic period is that actually your identity is not fixed. Your identity is malleable. You can tap into different parts of your identity. I believe that your identity is actually an operating system. It's interesting, like we hardwire ourselves around what we do. We ask kids, what do you want to be? Doctor, scientist, engineer. We never ask kids, who do you want to be? And I think this is incredibly important because what happens is that we grip on to those labels. We grip on to those labels that define us. And I'm here to say that actually identity is malleable. You can build different parts of your identity. I've done this for myself. I have now a mode where I can lock in. It's called hell mode. I built that through running my dad's business and being in managed consulting. And now the only time I unlock it now is when my kids are 3 kids in the back screaming and yelling. I'm like, okay, I need to unlock this thing. Your identity is not fixed. And you can build different personas. And the only way to do this is to deliberately and consciously expose yourself to challenges. That's how you build different pieces of who you are. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, guys, is because truly what this AI revolution is doing, it's impacting our work. When you've been a craftsman for 20, 30 years and AI can do 40% of it, it's going to impact your identity. And if you truly want to disrupt yourself, you have to be able to let go of what made you successful. Thank you so much for your time.
Kanungo, everybody. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. I don't know about you, but I was standing there backstage and my jaw dropped and I could not believe how unbelievable it was that we coordinated our outfits so well without talking to each other.
Look at that.
Pretty good.
Look at that.
Amazing. Well, we've got a couple minutes for a Q&A here, so if you've been jumping on the session app, thank you very much for doing that. Rapid fire here. Shawn, what are your thoughts about the ethical implications of AI when using someone's likeness to produce content they're not aware of or consented to?
Yeah, 100%. I think this is a very nuanced question because I think this is going to be the question that we're going to ask over the next decade, which is around, what do we do with all the knowledge that we created, throughout human history, which is actually created by us. And I think the process of what AI is doing, not to get too technical, but it's going through this process known as pre-training. It's looking at all this information that we've collected throughout human history, and then it's going through a process of inference, meaning when it's prompted, it creates a new remix based on the patterns that it's looked at. And so what it's actually modeling is what we do. When we develop anything that's new, an idea, a recipe, whatever it might be, we also look and see what's happening around the world, and we create a new remix. And so this is why a lot of people are saying that IP laws are outdated. But I think what is fundamentally true is that we need to protect people in terms of their likeness, using people maliciously. Like, we need regulation. We need government to step in when people are impersonating other people. Absolutely. But the very idea that you come up with a game-changing idea, I mean, that's just part of history. Innovation is about remixing, copying ideas, and that's been the story of innovation. So that's a longer conversation, but important.
That brings up a really interesting thing that someone else brought up too, about how a lot of AI just brings up things that are already there that may or may not have biases. So how can you, especially in this room here of HR professionals, ensure that the information that's being used doesn't have a lot of bias that's inert?
You can't. The information will be biased. Just like how every single person in this room is biased. The AI is pulling information from throughout history. That
information has been collected by human beings who are also biased. And that's why I say AI is never the solution. AI is just one data point. You should never use it as gospel. You should never use it as a final output or solution, but as a source of inspiration. One of the beautiful things that a lot of these AIs are doing, it's pulling together where it's pulling that information from. And by the way, that source information might be wrong too. So I think we need to do the due diligence, just like I said, trust nothing. That's going to be an important skill set moving forward. We can't trust the AI immediately, just like I'm not going to trust a human being immediately. Don't trust me immediately. That's what I said at the beginning too. Your job is to question. So yeah.
So when you're questioning things, and this is a great question here, if AI can fake a voice, it can fake a face, a resume, how can HR confidently make fair, ethical decisions about who gets hired, who gets credited, who gets held accountable?
Yeah, I love that question. Such a great question. I think my belief is that we need to go back to the old school practices of like meeting somebody in person, shaking their hands, looking them in the eye. And it's funny how we, the same thing people ask me about school, like how do we test people in school? Well, the way to test people in school is you look them in the eye and then you ask them a question and see how they respond with no technology around them. And I think in some way we're going to go back to that.
A lot of people want to know about your top 5 AI tools that you use or you would recommend.
Yeah, so number 1 is probably Lovable, which is the idea of creating an idea into an app. I really love Manus. Manus is a startup that it creates its own AI. It's an AI agent that can get stuff done. It's very, very, very thorough. Number 3 is OpenAI's deep research function, which is incredible. It's very well sourced. I think you need the pro version for that. Number 4 is probably Mid-Journey. We use a lot of images and graphics. A lot of stuff that you saw here was leveraging AI. And the 5th one, I love Claude. Claude is an incredible writer. I think Claude 3.7 is an incredible writer. So those are the top 5.
All right, let's bring it home with this question. It's a very, very important one. How important is it to thank ChatGPT when you're done asking for its help?
Well, okay, so number 1, I would say on the idea of thanking, I just want to thank this man over the last couple of days. Incredible MC. Round of applause for him.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, my friend.
Incredible job. You're amazing. And to that question, what was the question again? I was just blinded. I was blinded by your brilliance. So,
keep going. Thanking AI, like I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Who thanks ChatGPT as soon as right?
Wow, look at these people.
Right?
Wow,
we're
amazing.
all just so like, thank you.
You know what? I think it's a good practice. Just like how and I know it's costing OpenAI and all these platforms millions of dollars because it's the more input that you give it, the more costly it is. But I think if we create a society where we're just demanding things from these AIs, it will start to seep into other areas of our life. So I would say, just like I would go to Alexa, I say to my kids, hey, make sure you say thank you, okay? Say please and thank you. I think it's important. I think maybe that's a Canadian in me, so.
Because when the Skynet thing finally becomes a reality and they're like, oh, you said thank you. You're good.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it.
Shawn Kanungo, everybody.
So
amazing job. Thank you. Great job, buddy.